basement full of gangsters, all of them stripped down, all of them against the wall. Frank Lucas standing there, 17 years old, 2 guns in his hands. Fat Daddy running his mouth, threatening, talking tough. Everybody else staying quiet. Then Frank made a choice, a calculated choice, a choice that changed everything. He could have aimed for the head, could have ended it clean, could have made Fat Daddy a memory. But Frank Lucas understood something most people don't. Sometimes killing a man is mercy. Sometimes you want them to live, want them to remember, want them to carry it forever. If you think you know how ruthless Frank Lucas was, you ain't seen nothing yet. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what Frank did to Fat Daddy wasn't just violence. It was psychological warfare, and the whole city learned from it. The Big Track Basement Gambling Hall / Hotel on Lenox Avenue / Harlem, 1946. High stakes poker, craps games, money flowing like water, gangsters with deep pockets, guns under their jackets, respect on the line every hand. Fat Daddy was a regular, 300 pounds, ran numbers in South Harlem, had a reputation. People knew his name. People paid him tribute. People didn't test him. Until Frank Lucas walked in that Tuesday afternoon. Frank Lucas, 16 years old, skinny kid from North Carolina, 6 months in Harlem, been robbing bars, stealing diamonds, making noise on the streets. But small money wasn't enough. Frank wanted real money, the kind that changes everything. So he studied the big track, watched the comings and goings, counted the money, calculated the risk. And then he walked in, wearing a cheap suit, 2 pistols under his coat. Nobody paid him attention. Skinny country boy, probably lost, probably leaving soon. Frank walked past the card tables, past the craps game, got to the center of the room, pulled both guns. Everybody against the wall, right now. I ain't asking twice. The room went silent. Cards hit the table. Dice stopped rolling. These were hard men, dangerous men who done terrible things. But something in Frank's eyes, something in his voice made them move. One by one, they stood, walked to the wall, hands visible. Frank Lucas watching every single one, calculating, ready. Stripped down, everything off. Shoes, pants, wallets, watches, pile it in the center. The humiliation started there. Before any bullets, before any blood. Grown men, powerful men, standing in their underwear, exposed, angry, but scared. Most of them stayed quiet, swallowed their pride, figured they'd get revenge later. But not Fat Daddy. Fat Daddy stripping down like everyone else, but his mouth kept running. Couldn't help himself. Pride and anger mixing into something dangerous. You think you smart? You think you gonna walk out of here? Frank didn't respond, just kept collecting money, kept his guns steady. Fat Daddy kept going, voice getting louder, trying to save face in front of everyone. You know who I am. You know what I run. You know what happens to people who cross me. Frank Lucas stopped, looked at Fat Daddy, really looked at him. I know exactly who you are. That's why I'm here. Fat Daddy's face turned red, veins popping in his neck. You dead. You hear me? You dead the second you step outside. Might be today, might be tomorrow, but you dead. the other men in that room knew. You don't. Threatened during a robbery, you stay quiet, you live. But Fat Daddy couldn't stop. Ego bigger than his survival instinct. You ain't nothing. You ain't nobody. You just a dead man who don't know it yet. Frank Lucas tilted his head, studying Fat Daddy like a problem that needed solving. And that's when Frank made his decision. Not an emotional decision, not an angry decision, a calculated decision. Frank could kill Fat Daddy, put a bullet in his head, silence him forever. But dead men don't suffer. Dead men don't remember. Dead men don't spread the message. Frank needed Fat Daddy alive, needed him to remember, needed him to tell the story. Frank Lucas raised his gun. Everyone tensed. Everyone expected the headshot. Fat Daddy standing there, defiant, stupid, brave maybe, but mostly stupid. Do it then. You got the gun. Do it. Frank smiled, that cold smile, that empty smile. Then he lowered his aim, not at the head, not at the chest, not even at the legs. Aimed at Fat Daddy's backside, the most humiliating target possible. Fat Daddy's eyes went wide, understanding hitting him too late. Wait! Frank squeezed the trigger. The sound echoed in that basement, loud, final. Everyone flinched. Fat Daddy screamed, went down hard, landed on the floor, clutching his backside. Not a kill shot, not even close. Just pain and humiliation rolled into one. Frank stood over him, gun still pointed, watching. Fat Daddy rolling on the floor, screaming, cursing, bleeding. You shot me in my backside. You shot me in my backside. Frank Lucas didn't say nothing, didn't need to. The message was clear. This wasn't about killing. This was about teaching, about making an example. Fat Daddy tried to stand, couldn't. The pain too much, the wound too fresh. He started crawling, pulling himself across that basement floor toward the stairs, leaving a trail behind him, blood and shame. Every gangster in that room watching. Frank Lucas just stood there, both guns out, making sure nobody moved, nobody helped. Fat Daddy crawling, grunting, crying. 300 pounds of humiliation. Somebody help me. Somebody. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Nobody wanted to be next. Frank Lucas backed toward the door, guns still pointed, eyes on everyone. Fat Daddy still crawling, still bleeding, still screaming. And Frank walked out, calm, collected, money in his pockets, message delivered. Left Fat Daddy on that basement floor, alive, wounded, humiliated, in front of everyone who mattered. Fat Daddy lived. The wound wasn't fatal, just painful, embarrassing, unforgettable. He recovered physically. Few weeks, couple months maybe. But the other wound, the psychological wound, that never healed. Every time Fat Daddy sat down, he remembered. Every time someone looked at him, he wondered if they knew. And they did know. Everyone knew. Word spread through Harlem like wildfire. Fat Daddy got shot in the backside by some skinny kid. Crawled across the floor crying. His reputation shattered. His authority gone. His power evaporated. The man who ran South Harlem reduced to a punchline. a cautionary tale, a warning. People who used to fear him, now they whispered when he passed, tried not to laugh, didn't always succeed. Fat Daddy tried to rebuild, tried to reassert himself, tried to make people forget. But you can't make Harlem forget. Harlem remembers everything, especially humiliation. And Frank Lucas, he became legend that day. The kid who shot Fat Daddy in the backside and walked away. Not because he killed someone, because he didn't. Because he chose humiliation over elimination. That's what made it brilliant. That's what made it terrifying. That's what made it perfect. Frank Lucas understood something most people don't understand until it's too late. Death is final. Death is clean. Death is almost merciful. But humiliation, that lives on. That spreads. That destroys from the inside. Fat Daddy would have preferred death. He said it himself years later. Told people he wished Frank had just killed him. Because living with that shame, living with everyone knowing, living with the laughter behind his back, that was worse than any bullet to the head. Frank Lucas learned that. Lesson at 16, perfected it over his criminal career when he built his empire, when he controlled Harlem, when he ran his operation. He didn't always eliminate threats. Sometimes he humiliated them, broke them psychologically. He stripped away dignity, made people choose money over pride, made them live with their choice. And it worked. It always worked. Because humiliation is more powerful than fear. Fear fades. People get brave again. But shame sticks forever. Fat Daddy lived another 20 years, died in the late 60s, heart attack, natural causes. But for those 20 years, he carried that basement with him every single day. Couldn't walk into a room without wondering if they knew, if they laughed, if they judged. Lost his territory, lost his respect, lost his position, all because he opened his mouth. All because he challenged Frank Lucas when he should have stayed quiet. All because he thought his reputation would protect him. The worst part, Fat Daddy had to watch Frank Lucas rise, had to watch him take over Harlem, had to watch the kid who shot him in the backside become the most powerful man in the city. And Fat Daddy couldn't do nothing about it. Couldn't get revenge. Couldn't even complain. Because complaining meant reliving it. Meant reminding everyone. Meant making it worse. So he suffered in silence. Carried that wound, physical and psychological, until the day he died. And Frank Lucas, he used that story, that reputation, that moment. Every time someone thought about crossing him, every time someone got too brave, someone would whisper, "You know what he did to Fat Daddy." And that was enough. That was always enough. That was the power of humiliation. Frank Lucas built the empire on that foundation, on that understanding, on that cold calculation. When he brought blue magic to Harlem, when he made millions, when he controlled the streets, he remembered Fat Daddy crawling, remembered the power of humiliation, remembered the choice he made, and he used it over and over in different ways with different people. Same principle. Break them psychologically. Make them live with it. Make them spread your legend. That basement in 1946, that Tuesday afternoon, that moment when Frank chose the backside over the head, that changed everything. Not just for Fat Daddy, not just for Frank, for all of Harlem, because everyone learned, you don't cross Frank Lucas, you don't challenge him, you don't test him. Not because he'll kill you, because he might not, because he might do something worse. He might let you live, let you remember, let you crawl, let everyone watch. And that's worse than any bullet, worse than any death, worse than anything. Fat Daddy learned that lesson, taught it to everyone else without saying a word, just by existing, just by living with what happened, just by being the example. And Frank Lucas, he became untouchable, not through violence, through psychology. The most dangerous man in Harlem, not because he killed the most people, because he understood. Humiliation lasts longer than fear. Shame cuts deeper than bullets. Fat Daddy crawled across that basement floor, and Frank Lucas walked into legend. If this story showed you the psychology behind Frank Lucas's brutality, hit that like button and subscribe for more untold stories from Harlem's ruthless era.